AITA for how I reacted when my husband threw away our daughter's kitchen tools that I bought her. My daughter Liz, 15, loves cooking. She began discovering new meals after she became vegan. She was a very picky eater in the past. I encourage her to cook her own food, but my husband hates it, although she still sits at the table with us. But he thinks that her having different food on the table is disrespectful to the family and she should just be eating what we eat. I thought that was ridiculous and asked him to just let her be. He got more agitated and said that Liz wasn't allowed to use any tool in our kitchen if she decides to cook for herself, since he paid for everything the kitchen has. I fought back on his decision, but he stood firm. I decided to just go out and buy her all the tools she needed to make her meals. She buys her own groceries, so I don't have to worry about that. Last night I was out and Liz called me crying, saying my husband threw away all the tools I got her to prevent her from cooking. I was fuming. I went home and started arguing with him, telling him those weren't his tools. He argued that Liz was cooking in his kitchen and he already didn't authorize that. I blew up and went off on him, telling him he's ridiculous and was just looking for excuses to prevent Liz from cooking. He yelled that Liz is acting spoiled and that I repeatedly let her disrespect us and table manners by letting her cook her own food instead of being grateful and eating what's already on the table. We fought some more, then I went upstairs. He followed me, saying I'm avoiding responsibility and that I'm encouraging Liz to become selfish and egotistical instead of appreciating what's in front of her. I refused to talk to him and he said I should apologize for reacting by yelling at him and calling him names. Edit. 1. Why I let my daughter buy her own groceries. 2 reasons. 1 is that she uses the money I give her to buy groceries. And 2 is that she knows what she needs to cook meals and has more knowledge with vegan products. So she shops by herself, and sometimes I take her with me if it's a new place. 2. Is there a cultural factor? We're from Latin America and my husband is the sole provider for the family. 3. Why can't the whole family eat vegan? Because I have younger kids and they don't eat vegetables. NTA. You don't need new kitchen tools, you need a new husband. NTA. But your husband is. He is abusive and controlling. Your husband is controlling. Sounds like he abuses your daughter with his authoritarian BS. And you are NTA. NTA. Your husband sounds like a real jerk. I wonder what would happen if Liz had a gluten intolerance or celiac. He would force her to gluten herself constantly just because he doesn't understand and won't listen to anyone else? Wow. Is this the first thing that he's been way over the top about? Location flag, location flag, location flag, location flag. He argued that Liz was cooking in his kitchen and he already didn't authorize that. Also, last I checked, my house belongs to my husband and me. It's your kitchen too. And your authorization should have been enough. I can't believe I even just said that. It's so far beyond ridiculous. His kitchen? Ma'am, please think about that. The man thinks that everything in the house is his. The outfit you're wearing, his. Your toothbrush, his. He probably thinks you are his property. This isn't about her being vegan or not. It's not about her being selfish or self-centered. It's about control. If your daughter has even the slightest bit of control over her life, your husband loses the total control he needs. You are not a person with wants and needs, and neither is she. You are extensions of him and his will, and he cannot allow either of you to be able to do something without his will. This is a place to draw a line in the sand. NTA. Why are you married to a man who treats your daughter like this? NTA. Perhaps if he does not like her cooking in his kitchen, you should not cook in his kitchen either. Sounds like a controlling and emotionally abusive father. Info. Is husband Liz's father? Only ask because you don't refer to him that way and it didn't seem like Liz did either. NTA. Your husband has some major control issues. He yelled that Liz is acting spoiled and that I repeatedly let her disrespect us. Spoiled would be demanding that everyone else eats what she does. Or intentionally sabotaging the non-vegan food at the table. Disrespectful would be not cleaning up after herself. And demanding you guys cater to her. She isn't doing any of that. She buys her own groceries. Not coming out of his pocket at all. Is still engaging at mealtimes. Is learning a skill. And seems to be respecting what you guys choose to eat. He isn't being respectful of her. Throwing her items away? Being actively hostile towards her? This man is a walking red flag and it seems like his behavior is only escalating. This doesn't sound like a safe environment for your daughter. NTA. By the way, if he's so entitled to his kitchen, might as well stop cooking for him. Remind him that is his kitchen, therefore you also have nothing to do cooking there. NTA. However, you should look into separation because your husband is a controlling IDK what you saw in this guy. But if this is his reaction to your daughter doing these independently, God knows what he'll be. Like when she's 18 and really trying to do things herself. NTA. Your husband is and sounds very controlling, borderline abusive. Why is he so hung up on this? NTA. His kitchen? What are you, the hired help? He doesn't see the house as your too? And heaven forbid, what if she develops a food allergy? Would he purposefully make her sick because that's not the way you or he is eating? Personally, I think you should tell him that from now on all meals are vegan and this way she's eating what everyone else does. Smile. NTA. But your husband's behavior is making my skin crawl. That's completely abusive and wasteful. His idea that it's disrespectful to cook for yourself is nuts. He's a control freak and I hope you and Liz are okay. Honestly, if make that man regret his words. If he's demanding you all eat the same food, then I'd go out and buy all vegan food. Make him adapt to his daughter's diet and maybe after a few meatless nights he'll realize he prefers letting her cook her own food. She's 15. That is a valuable and essential life skill he's preventing her from developing. Why is he so jealous of her eating vegan food? I'd completely stop buying animal products and fill the fridge and cabinets with all vegan options that my daughter would eat. Then start cooking that food for him. Now the whole family can eat together as one and he can stop complaining. Malicious compliance is absolutely called for here. NTA. Your husband is abusive and controlling and toxic. NTA. But this is not someone who you should be married to or who should have contact with your children. He is abusive and controlling. NTA. Your husband is abusive. Act accordingly. You need to provide a safe space where your daughter can't eat without being harassed and having her property ruined. NTA. I recommend taking to a divorce lawyer because that's abusive. That's misogynistic and controlling and honestly he has no right to be anywhere near your daughter. NTA. Your husband acted like a terrifying, abusive control freak. NTA. Your husband sounds controlling and horrible. If I were you, I'd start cooking vegan food for the whole family, and if he complains, tell him he's disrespectful and all that other crap he's saying about your daughter.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.